What is up, guys? We're live, and I don't need my headphones anymore. So, we're back with another episode, another week of Modern Magic Mondays. So, thanks for tuning in. We've got 4 rounds of coverage to get to tonight, but before we dive too deep into the coverage, a couple little maintenance things. I don't know. A couple things to go over real quick, because there's a new ban and restricted update. Doesn't apply to Modern, but want to talk about it real quick for anybody else that does play any of the other formats, because everybody hates Cataxian Pro. They'll never let me play this card ever again, apparently. So it's now banned in Pauper as well. So we can't play it in Modern, can't play it in Legacy, can't even play it in Pauper now. They say, you know what? Don't even play this card. It's too good. Gush has also been banned, as well as Daze. So they're basically saying, hey, Blue's too good for Pauper, guys. Blue's just too good. Let's kind of take it down a notch. Let some other people play for a little bit, please. Thanks. See you later. That's all well and good. I did have some decks that were running Gush and Cataxian Probe and Daze and things like that, so I'm a little annoyed by it. But I also had the Hexproof deck, so didn't run blue in that. Don't have to worry. The other thing is Modern Horizons spoilers are underway. There's been some pretty good ones. If you guys have not seen any of the stuff going on, Diabolic Edict, things like that have been announced. They've got full art of our snow-colored lands, which is pretty sweet. We've been seeing some snow-covered decks in our series of Modern Magic Mondays, so you guys can check out that stuff. But the big thing so far is there's that newer Force of Will, if you will, that has been announced. And then we've got it's like Force of Will, but not quite the same thing, right? It does cost 3 to normally cast, where Force of Will costs 5. But the benefits of it, in some regard, is that if it's not your turn, you get to basically use the Force of Will aspect of it, that you exile a blue card rather than pay its mana cost, but you don't have to lose any life, and you are countering target non-creature spell, and if the spell would be countered this way, it gets exiled. So it's a nice, if you're able to kind of fill your hand up, do things like that, having access to this is pretty good, especially if you're like, well, it's turn 1 and you're trying to Thoughtseize me. You know what? Maybe I'm playing a combo-based deck, and having a couple other cards in my hand that I really need are going to be important. So pitching this and another card to protect my hand for a little bit and set myself up could be beneficial. So just kind of keep your eyes peeled for that. We also see Wing Shards, right? We're getting more Storm cards in there. Wing Shards, 3 costs, target player sacks an attacking creature and Storm. You get to copy it for every Storm. You know how Storm works, guys. You know how this works. But some pretty cool stuff so far that have been announced. There is a basic fetch land that has come out. You can only find basics. That's pretty sweet. Flusterstorm, which I'm excited for, is going to be rocking out in Modern as well. So lots of good stuff going to be used there. So getting that out of the way before we jump into round 1. But we have 4 rounds tonight, so let's kind of hop over and get things going with our coverage tonight. All right, so we've got Izzet Phoenix versus Affinity, and I don't remember who was on Izzet Phoenix. I apologize, guys. But if you were at the shop or you were paying enough attention to know who was playing Izzet Phoenix, or if you were playing Izzet Phoenix over last week, then you can just let me know, and I'll add your name to it. Where are the players at? Come on, guys. It's round 1. Where are you at? Problem is, I don't want to jump too far ahead. Let's try, there we go. Jumped ahead at least a minute. Alright, so again, I wasn't paying enough attention to know who was that. Jeremy? Is Jeremy piloting that? Ah, all right. So let's take a look and see how this works out. Izzet Phoenix, he had previously for the last couple of weeks been rocking out that hardened scales Affinity, and now it looks like he's decided I'm going to switch it up and try out that Izzet Phoenix style. So we're going to see how well it works out for him for this series. Now he is playing against TJ, who is no stranger to the Affinity style of play. Okay, maybe he's on hardened scales. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see as we dive into it and really get a breakdown of what they're playing, who's playing what, all that kind of good stuff there. But these players getting ready to go, shuffling up, getting themselves all prepared for round number 1 here. And the Phoenix deck, Mono Red and Izzet, are these kind of burst strategy styles that you can kind of come out the gate quick with it, depending on how things go. But it's all about this kind of these powerful turns, right? You can be like, okay, here's 9 points of damage in 1 turn, kind of thing, or oh, here I'm gonna be able to just cast a bunch of spells and kind of value off there. Where the Affinity can go for that sort of pierce. I can go for like a big single turn, or it can kind of go wide, and does have that ability to switch between game plans, where Izzet Phoenix doesn't have as much of a chance to do that. Now, I don't know if this version is running like the new Saheeli. People have talked about that for a sideboard option as another way to kind of go wide. Hey, you're going to be playing a bunch of spells anyway. This is a way to kind of generate a bunch of creatures and kind of go wide. But we will see as things get underway here for these players. Alright, Blink, Mox, Memnite. Oh, just kidding. We're not done. Cranioplatin coming out as well. Alright, here's a sleight of hand. Passes on over. Nice slow start there. But I mean, that's really what this sort of Izzet Phoenix is going to be doing. It's hoping to be able to cast some sort of setup card in the first turn or so, kind of get ready to go. Like a Faithless Looting, a Sleight of Hand, Serums, things like that, Ops, those sort of cantrippy spells. By the way, new Saheeli sucks. Does it? Okay. I wasn't sure. I'd heard people were talking about it. I haven't tested it out. I just remember when it was released, there was some people that were discussing it. But I could see how it's not really where you want to be post-board. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4 damage coming across there. Drops him to 16. Ooh, can I have this guy? And we're gonna bolt that guy, looks like. Get rid of the Memnite. Then pass on over. Alright, Lyle saying, I'd rather play Young Pyromancer but neither is really good in Thing in the Ice. Yeah, it's kind of counterproductive, right? If you're like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of guys, oh, then my Thing in the Ice flips, and all non-horrors get returned to your hand, so it kills all your tokens that you just spent all this time making. Yeah. So at this point, Jeremy's really just sort of cantripping again, just sort of taking his time. Looks like those was, what, lands? 2 lands? But yeah, he's really just sort of in this kind of wait and see phase. Like, I hope I can start really assembling stuff, but the clock is ticking. Cranial plating, Arcbound Ravager are making it kind of scary. Ooh, okay. So we did get to see him use a Manamorphose to be able to generate mana. It looks like he's just kind of throwing stuff directly into the graveyard, and we just can't see it on camera there. But that was his 3rd spell this turn. So we will see at least an Arclight Phoenix come back from the graveyard. Thank you. Ooh, Etch Champion. That's pretty nice. Now TJ's kind of going through, do I need to attack here? Is that where I want to be? Losing a couple of artifacts in this situation. And he says, now let's just equip this onto here and pass. Looks like he's going through checking some math here. Flashback, Faithless Looting. Pyromancer's Ascension got added to his hand. So it looks like he was activating his creature or his lands, turning them into creatures. Assuming it was about 8 points of damage, assuming he activated both those. Actually 10 because he is a 2/2. So puts him to 6. So Lyle saying that people run snow-covered lands in their Phoenix decks to throw off opponents into thinking that they're on Storm, which of course plays them because of the Gifts Ungiven. All right, so that makes sense. So he's running some snow-covered islands that you see. Bringing the beats, he says. Manamorphose looks like he just played. Ooh, Echoing Truth. That's a nice. And I'll sack it to this and move that counter over, and you're dead. Affinity takes game one. Phoenix deck was just sort of like, hey, I'm going to slowly get going. It had some okay draws at the end, but it's like those are the draws that you want early on and start getting things going. So now we're going into sideboard stages here. TJ using his cheat sheet to kind of help him out, making sure that he's optimized in his sideboarding plans. Jeremy's going to add in probably a little bit more removal. He can shave down on some of his cantrips if he wanted to, and some of them being redundant. If he's got some of his like higher cost spells in there, those are going to come out because it's going to be a quicker match. See, signal pests have been pulled to the front there. She's going to shave down on some of those numbers. Memnite's also getting taken out. See, Grapdigger's Cage came in so he can kind of help shut down the Phoenix a little bit. Finishing dinner a little bit, guys, so I'm doing my best to keep commentating while eating. That's a very slow start for TJ, having one ink moth, and that's it. Tonight's dinner is the little kid dinner of hot dogs and french fries. Nice, unhealthy way to start the week off. Ooh, tacos. That's one of my favorite. All right, Ink and Blink now here for TJ. There's a nice little zero-cost Ornithopter. And there's the Cranial. Alright, we got the basic Mountain, Shivan Reef, Spire Bluff Canals there. So, kind of set up with all the mana. Probably feeling pretty good. Just hoping that he can start to get some of his payout cards here. Oh, nice. Aren't you lucky? Alright, Lyle, are you a Guac fan or not a Guac fan? Oh, there's our thing in the ice. So he'll enter with 4 of those counters on him every time that he's going to play one of those instant or sorceries that will remove one of those. Once he gets all of them removed, it turns into that Awakened Horror, bounces all non-horror creatures. And that's pretty nice. Dampening Sphere. Let's push for some damage, he says. 2, 3, 4 points of damage. Puts him at 16. Avocado oil, avocado mayo, guac, of course. All things avocado. So just double checking. Oh, sound keeps cutting out. I keep muting it so you guys don't hear me chewing. I'm done eating now, so the sound will no longer continue to cut out. Don't worry. You'll still be able to hear me the rest of the cast. Another Cranial? Ugh. Push for damage. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 points of damage. Jeremy goes to 4. Now, here's the problem. 14? Did I miss 2? I might have missed 2, so he could be at 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did he activate Ink and Blink this turn? Oh, he activated Ink. Ugh, gross. So he is at 2. Got distracted. Alright, so the whole thing about Dampening Sphere, each spell a player costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that they've played this turn. So it does hurt where Jeremy wants to start comboing off in a way and start dumping spells to flip his creatures, right? Bounce that Ornithopter back to the hand, things like that. But even if he does, alright, the activation of Blink Moth is just going to mess everything up. All right, let's see how we do this, he says. Coming at you like so. So now it's up to Jeremy to get that thing to flip. Echoing truth. Let's return your cranials to your hand. You'll take 1, go to 1. And looks like Jeremy not able to draw into anything else that turn. Ooh, has to concede there. So Jeremy ends up falling. Izzet Phoenix not really able to make it work versus TJ. I'm going to keep on camera real quick just so you can see what TJ brought out and what he brought in. Just because it's not often that we get to see this sort of layout of sideboard cards from players. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of kind of the idea, a little bit of an idea. It gets you a good understanding of what they were thinking and why they brought in specific cards just at a quick glance there. So, don't know how well we're going to see Jeremy's hand, but let's keep it going, guys. Looks like he only sided in 2 cards there. So, that is round number 1. A very quick round. Sometimes that's how it goes, especially when you have these 2 fast-paced decks like that. One can just sort of get out the gate and get you there. So, yeah, he must have been at 1 life instead of 2 life. You know, we could have miscounted here and there. He had a Shivan Reef, so maybe we missed a point where he had to take some damage off of that. It is possible. So we're going to jump into round number 2. Now that we're starting to show point totals on stream, that is our newer thing, just to kind of help get people back to watching the stream. It will be a consistent thing up until week number 8 when things really start to kick off and we get things going when point totals really come down to the wire. In the early parts, everyone's kind of really close anyway, so we don't need to have it up to date as much as previous season, so we're just going to keep updating it here on camera for you guys. So let's hop over to round number 2.